I just reread your email, so it's top of mind. So Camo, your chocolate lab who you rescued, and he's just
Mhm.
like kind of been having some issues like yeastiness, itchiness, and like bile pukes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I would love for you. I know that you want to talk about a raw diet potentially, but I would love just to like hear from you the progression of what you've seen and then like anything. I know you rescued him, but like do you have any historical knowledge of how he was in his previous home?
All I really know about like his previous home is that he constantly was chewing things, like just behavioral issues about him before. And that's why he like went to the vet to be diagnosed with the parvo. I don't know if I put that in the email or not. I think I did.
Did, yeah.
And she couldn't like pay for the surgery, so that's how we ended up adopting him, like rescuing him. Uh, we paid for the surgery, we brought him home. So he was sick for a couple weeks, like throwing up, because that's like what parvo, like the, you know what I mean. That's like what they do. So then he like wasn't eating a bland diet for like us at all the first couple of days. So I called the vet again and was like, what can I do? Um, he won't eat food at all. And they were like, we'll just put him on food diet and like a dry food diet instead of like bland like chicken and like dry like wet dog food because he wouldn't eat it at all. And my boyfriend's sister is a vet tech, so she told me like, why don't you try this brand? And I was like, okay. So I tried the Purina Pro Plan, and he every time he eat it within 30 minutes he would throw it all up,
Okay.
mostly in the morning. And then we would feed him like late at night, probably like 5:30 to 6, and by the time we were waking up in the morning he was throwing up like stomach bile. And she like everyone kept telling me, the vet and her were like, feed her later, feed him later. And I'm like, I'm feeding him at 6:30. Like, I feel like that's pretty late. And I tried feeding him later and he kept doing it. So then I switched to Victor. I believe I had him on like the Max Pro because it had like something with joints in it. And I thought that was a good one. So I tried that. And that's when I really started noticing like he was constantly like biting at his paws. He itches his ears a lot. He's never had like an ear infection. His ears never look gross. Like I always clean them out and everything. But they always like seem like oily, I
Okay.
guess. Um, and then what else? And then like for like every once in a while he'll throw up and then he'll be fine, but
Okay.
he'll throw up his food
Okay.
within like 30 minutes of eating it.
Got it. Okay. So he's throwing up a full stomach. It's not like the hunger pukes, the bile.
No.
Is it correlated to like, are you feeding him after high activity?
Mm-mm. In the
Oh,
morning, I don't really like, I might take him on like a real short 10-minute walk, but most of his like high activity is like in the evening. He either goes on a run or I take him on like a mile or 2 mile walk, and I don't feed him until he's like calmed down because usually when we come back, he's like panting and real tired. So I wait till he calms down to feed him again, and he usually never pukes in the evening. It's only in the morning.
okay. Interesting. Okay. Um, and when he was on the Purina food, did you notice the like nibbling at the paws and the scratching of the ears, or not so much?
I don't think he was on it long enough for me to notice it.
Okay.
We didn't really have him on it longer than a couple weeks because I was like, I can't do this throwing up every morning. I
Yeah.
was like, something's obviously wrong. So that's why I switched him. And you could definitely tell a difference. He actually like enjoyed eating the Victor food. He never really like enjoyed eating the Purina. He would like eat half a bowl and just leave it there. And then I started feeding him the Victor, and he actually like would finish the bowl. I could feed him from my hand, type of thing.
Cool.
I changed him to the fish formula about like a month ago because I asked the vet why he would be biting, and they said probably allergies, and most allergies are from beef and chicken. So switch him to like uh, a all fish diet before you pay the $200 for the allergy testing.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying for a month now, but I'm still like, he's still biting at his skin and stuff like that.
Okay, got it. Okay, so I have some initial thoughts.
Okay.
Is I like Victor food. I feel like Victor food is like similar to ProPlan, but they've never had a recall. Like their sourcing is better. And so I just feel more confident feeding that food. However, when I was feeding that food to my lab, I noticed that some of the formulas made her very itchy and her ears would get gross, and some she was a rock star on.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it could just be the specific formulas that you're feeding. Um, the one that I like, which is one of their like lowest carb ones and one of their more affordable ones, is the High Pro Plus formula. It's
Mm-hmm.
the teal bag. Now, the thing though with that, the trade off is it's a multi protein, so it does have beef and chicken in there. However, like like my dog wasn't allergic to beef and chicken, but it was just like that food that was making her really itchy, like that formula. So it's like I don't I don't really know. Like it's hard to say for certain if he has a beef and chicken issue. Like you probably would have seen it on the Purina food too, right?
Yeah.
So it could just be food specific, or formula specific. So I know you wanted to talk about a raw diet, but if you didn't want to dive in head first, or if you feel like you're gonna have issues with your vet, a food that you could try is Farmina's digestion kibble. And you can buy it in stores, but it honestly may just be easier to buy it online. And I can send you a link for it.
Okay.
But I'm just taking notes so I don't forget. It's a really highly digestible kibble. And why I'm recommending this is I'm thinking he may not be digesting kibble well, which is very common, especially if he has had a lot of turmoil with the parvo. Like he may just, be stuck in this cycle of inflammation or intolerance. And the vomiting is what's making me think that is because when dogs take something in and their body goes, oh, nope, not this, they just push it out one way or the other. Like you either vomiting or you get like explosive diarrhea. So that's what's making me think it could be that he just needs a more digestible food. So like if you wanted to stick with kibble, the Farmina digestion kibble is a good one. Other forms of highly digestible foods are canned foods or raw food. And like for a lot of these dogs, it's not even that you would need to feed 100% raw food or canned food diet. Like some dogs do really well on like a digestible kibble and like raw, like half and half. Like basically just like giving them a break from so much dry food. So if you didn't want to do full raw, that's a kibble that I would suggest trying.
Okay.
Or you could try the Victor High Pro Plus and see if the itchiness and scratchiness goes away. But if you don't want to like waste more time and money, I would just go straight to the Farmina.
Okay.
I can send you the link for it. I'm pretty sure it's available on Chewy. If it's not, you can buy it directly from them and they ship it. It's like 2 days shipping, free shipping, the same thing as Chewy.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, so I'll find the links where you can buy it and I'll send it to you. If you wanted to try canned food again, Costco sells a good canned food that's really affordable. It's like 89 cents a can. the downside is that it only comes in turkey. So like that's like the one flavor that you get. There's not a ton of variety. But if you wanted to try and do like half canned food, half kibble, that's like an affordable way to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so for the raw diet, here are my thoughts is I think he could be a really good candidate for it. And a lot of times with these dogs that are just having like digestive upset, sometimes they just need a reset, like a period where things are just calm and good, and then you can slowly transition them back to a kibble diet. So that could also be something to consider as well.
Okay.
Um, it's like, so it's kind of like with the allergy thing, like I'm not sure. I'm not like convinced that he has a protein allergy. I think it's the carbs in the kibble, or the he's not digesting it super well.
I think it has, my personal opinion, I think it's like the digestion, because I feel like if it was, he would be throwing up all the time in my head. Like, I feel like when you human have allergies and stuff like that, their body reacts to it all the time, and his body doesn't always throw up.
Yeah.
In my mind.
If his ears are clean, but he's just like generally like itchy.
Yeah.
That like allergy, there's usually some sort of like inflammation too. So you notice like swelling of the ears, like.
Yeah, it's never really his ears for me, because I'm always like, oh, what? Like, if I feel like if it's, because I looked it up, I'm like, what are common like symptoms of like a protein allergy? And that said ear infections. I'm like, but his ears are always clean. And he's never like itching. Like, he itches his ears, but it's not like it hurts when you touch them or anything. For me, I think it's like him biting his skin and his paws a lot. And then like if you like put his paw pad under and you like look in the like creases, they're always like beet red.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's like a carbohydrate issue.
Okay.
So the Farmina food would take care of that. Obviously, a raw diet would take care of that, and canned food would take care of that as well. So for the raw food, this is what I would suggest: is if you want to do it, I would do it for like at least 2 to 3 months to like really see if there's a change, unless of course he goes downhill really quickly, then abort mission. And something that I have that's really helpful is the raw food that I feed my dog. They gave me a private code to give to people like you who have dogs that are like trial and error dogs, because I was telling them, I was like, a lot of dogs could benefit from raw food, but because it's so expensive, people are wary to try it. So they gave me a code for 50% off a full order of it. Yeah. And so I feel like this could be a really good use case to use something like that to just see if it works.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, because the proteins that you have to choose from is just beef, turkey, or chicken. But honestly, I feel like I bet you could do like beef and turkey. Like chicken is always kind of like suspect for a lot of dogs. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe just do beef and turkey, but this is how it works. So first you do a 10-pound trial, and it's discounted. Like, it's super cheap. It's like $15 for 10 pounds. And then if he does okay with that, then your first full order, you use a different code to get 50% off.
Okay.
So there's like a ton of savings there. And sorry, I'm like thinking as I'm talking.
That's okay.
Because I'm trying to decide if you should just switch cold turkey, or if you do a gradual transition. Is he sensitive with foods, like with like treats or anything?
So for treat wise, I get him that bark box thing every month, and he eats those treats. And then we were at a dog show a couple weeks ago with him, and this lady had like freeze dry salmon, and I was like kind of like weary about it. I'm like, oh, I don't know if like he'll actually like it or not, but they're like his favorite treat.
Yeah.
He like loves them, and I'm like, okay, I gotta order like a whole bag of these because they're his favorite things. He really likes the freeze dried salmon, so I have to get more of this. But every like treats that I've gave him, I feel like he's not really like sensitive with them.
Okay. He's not so like he's not a guy like you give him something new and he gets like diarrhea.
Oh no, I think the only thing that gave him diarrhea is we gave him a pup cup one time, and now we don't give him ice cream anymore.
My dog had explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, it was explosive. I didn't even give it to him. My boyfriend did, and he's like, yeah, his poop was green. I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna do that again.
No, I learned that lesson too.
I'm like, he can just have treats. He's fine with that.
Yeah, he doesn't need whipped cream.
No, or ice cream.
Or ice cream, yeah. So what I'm thinking is, because he's not like he doesn't have a sensitive tummy so much, is you could probably do a really quick transition, like maybe just over 4 days,
Okay.
and see how he does. And for the transition period, it's just going to be like the basic stuff that you're looking for, like vomiting and diarrhea. If you give him, like, let's say like the first day you give him 25% raw food and 75% kibble, if you notice that he has like a little mushy poo, just for the next couple meals, just do 25-75, and then when he's normal, bump it up.
Okay.
But he seems like he would probably be fine.
Yeah, I feel like he'd probably be fine. I feel like not a lot of things like give him like diarrhea. It's always the opposite. I feel like when he has like the mushiest poop is when he's like super excited running around. He gets like excited poops.
Yes, that's totally normal. So honestly, if you give him his first meal is 25-75 and he's totally fine, I would just go 50-50. And if he's fine, 75-25 and then 100. So that would be, if he eats twice a day, that would be a 2-day transition.
Okay.
So see how he does and just go at a pace that makes you feel comfortable. And then once he's on full raw, or I mean, honestly, if you wanted to try and get the most bang for your buck, you could still do like 75 raw, 25 kibble or something, because I bet with that much raw, it would make a difference. But that part, I'll leave it up to you, like how much you want to stretch it.
Okay.
But I think that he would be a perfect candidate for it.
I feel like that's like I keep like seeing like especially your videos about the raw, because I just started following you on everything like not that long ago, and I was like, I feel like that would benefit him because he's always like digestive issues since we got him. So that's why I really wanted to have this call, because I'm like, I feel like people judge for like saying you want to give your dog a raw diet a lot of the time.
Yeah, and so tips for when you're talking to your vet.
Okay.
Is just stress that this is a food, it meets AAFCO guidelines, so it's nutritionally complete and balanced. So they usually question about whether it's nutritionally complete and balanced. It is. Then the next thing that they'll question is the dog eating raw bones? And it's a ground food. There are no chunks in it, so nothing to cause blockages. And then they'll bring up like bacteria. This food is pasteurized, so bacteria isn't an issue. Obviously, wash your hands afterward and wash the bowl. Typical basic
knowledge.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Standard stuff. So if they push you on that, it's not like some mom and pop shop thing. My vet actually sits on their board of directors, so they're super legit. But I would give it a go.
Okay.
And if you don't want to dive in head first, the Farmina digestive kibble could be a good bridge. But honestly, like for the price of that kibble, And the discounted raw, like I feel like the raw, like I feel like it's going to be a net price wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Um, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you have any concerns or hesitations?
No, I don't have any hesitations about the raw diet. I just like digestion issues. I feel like I just have to make sure I watch for them, but I feel like it's something that's probably going to benefit him a lot more than the kibble that he's on now.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, like maybe you do like 3 or 4 months of the full raw. And if he's just in great shape, then maybe you can do like half raw, half kibble, like the
Yeah.
high pro plus something that just isn't exactly what you were feeding before.
Do you like supplement anything in with when you do like a full raw diet? Like,
So, good question. So this food, it doesn't need anything, but the one thing that I recommend for all dogs, regardless of what they eat, is an omega-3 supplement.
oh, okay.
Especially for a dog like a lab, and especially if he's an itchy guy.
Yeah.
So I can send you, I'm really into right now feeding algae oil, because that's straight from the source of, like, fish don't make their own omega-3, they eat algae and they get it from that. However, like, you don't have to buy, I'm just gonna write that note to send you the links. A lot of people don't realize that you don't have to buy the omega-3 that's marketed for pets. You can buy, like, at Costco or Target, like the ones for humans that come in the value size or whatever.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. And the ones marketed for pets are always more expensive. It's so
Yeah.
annoying. It's always
Yeah,
more
they're
expensive.
I've looked into them a couple times because I've heard like that really helps like a lab's coat omega-3s,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh well, maybe and then I look at them, I'm like, why can I buy a bottle of 100 and some for myself? They're 10 times
I
cheaper.
know. So I'll also send you the calculator, because when you buy the ones for the humans, obviously you don't get the pet dosing on it. So I'll send you an online calculator. You just need his body weight, and it will just tell you how many milligrams to feed him. The one thing to look out for when you're buying the human kind is sometimes they add in flavorings or essential oils.
Okay.
So, like, I made this mistake once. I bought one from Target, and on the front, it didn't say anything about flavorings. But then when I looked at the ingredient list, essential oils was in the ingredient list.
Oh, okay.
So just
Look
flip
at
it
the
over
back.
and make sure that there's nothing like in the ingredient list, because that's just super annoying. But yeah, like, don't you don't need to buy like the pet ones. That's silly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I mean, other than that, like, I wouldn't really. He's young. You could do like a proactive like joint supplement if you wanted, just because of what his breed is. Do you have a Costco membership by chance?
Um, I think someone in my family has one, so I could probably just go there.
Because Costco sells Casequin, which is like one of the most popular joint supplements, and that's like the cheapest place that you can find it. But otherwise, I'll just send you an Amazon link for some of the ones that I like,
Okay.
and you can just check them out. Um, but oh, and then I'll send you the info on how to use all those dang codes for they like don't make anything easy. It's like this code for that code for this. Okay. Did you have any other questions, or like questions about like how to feed the raw food?
Yeah, how exactly like do you go about feeding it? Because I've never fed a dog a raw diet, I guess.
Yeah, so there are two ways to do it. And Darwin's website has a calculator where they can give you an estimate. I'll send you the direct link for that too. But there are two ways to do it, and I'll let you pick like whatever you think is easiest. So what you can do is you could do an equal calorie transition. So let's say he's eating, just for easy math, let's say he's eating 2 cups a day of the Victor, and each cup is 500 calories per cup. It's not, but easy math. Let's say he's eating 1,000 calories a day. Then you would look at the Darwin's food and it will say how many calories per ounce. And then you say, okay, to reach 1,000 calories a day, this is how many ounces I should feed him. So that's one way. The other way is they guesstimate that one of their raw patties is equal to a cup of the average kibble. So you could just do it that way. And it's just a starting point because raw food digests differently than kibble. It tends to lean dogs down, which some dogs need to be leaned down. So I'll let you decide for him what you think.
He's a pretty skinny lab, not
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
he only weighs like 80 pounds.
Okay, so I would do like the equivalent of one patty for a cup because that will probably bump him up on the higher end.
Okay.
And just use that as a starting point. If he's looking skinny, feed him more. If he's looking tubby, feed him less.
Okay. That's not hard.
Yeah, the like other way that you can do it is feeding 3% of his body weight. So you said he weighs 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Is he really tall?
Yeah, he is really tall.
Oh my gosh, like I was gonna say that's like a tall dog.
Yeah, he's tall and has a really big head.
Oh, cute. Okay, so that's 38 ounces. Okay, so 3% of his body weight would be like just under 2.5 pounds, which sounds about right. How many cups of kibble does he eat a day?
It depends between 1.5 and 2 cups a day.
Okay, so that aligns.
Like, but that's twice a day. So 2, like, yeah. So 4.
4 cups a day. Okay, so that actually aligns perfectly what this is saying because each of those patties is a half pound. So you'd eat 4 a day. That's like right around there. So yeah, I would start him on like 2 pounds or like 2.5 pounds a day and see how he does.
Okay.
The good news for you is his math worked out really well because each one is a half pound. So it's like if you
that's nice.
2 or 2.5, it's like you don't have to like split them up or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's like the basics. And I'm here, like you can email me or DM me like whenever you have questions and you don't have to pay for follow-up support. So as you go along, just keep me updated. And if things go south, we can course correct and figure out what's going on. But do you have any other questions?
I think my only other question is like treat wise, what do you suggest? Because I feel like we just bought those freeze-dried treats because it was there and I was just like, oh, that's cool to try. But like I go to the pet store, like look online, I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
I know. Freeze-dried treats, like the single ingredient treats, will probably be best for him. And there are a million options out there. I buy from a brand called Fig and Tyler, and I have a code for them, but it only saves you 10%. So like big whoop, but I'll link it anyways. But on Amazon, there's a brand called Stewart, and they sell freeze-dried treats, a ton of different animal proteins, and in a bunch of different sizes. So I'll send you Amazon links for that too.
Okay.
I like buy the Stewart and the Fig and Tyler treats, and I use them with clients, all types of dogs, and all the dogs love them. And they're low calorie, they're healthy, they're legit.
Okay. When like I go about feeding him the raw diet, do you just suggest like putting it in a regular dog bowl, or do you like put it in like a puzzle, like those puzzle bowls, or?
Oh yeah, good question. So I would avoid plastic because like plastic scratches in his pores, and with raw food, it's not great. So you can either feed him in like a glass or a ceramic bowl. And if you have like puzzles or like licky mats, things like that.
I have licky mats.
Oh, perfect. So the Darwin's food is really spreadable. So you could even spread it and freeze it if you wanted to feed it outside as like a summer, on a hot day.
Meat popsicle.
Yeah, exactly. Like some people will even stuff Kongs with it, freeze it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too, like a Kong or something.
Yeah, like feed it outside because that can get gross really fast. But yeah, that's the nice thing about that food is it's super spreadable, so you can put it in stuff like that. But otherwise, like a bowl works. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, up to you.
I just didn't know, like, if I feel like he'd be like the dog that would, like, chew it, not lick it.
Oh, yeah,
Because
which,
he's like that.
it will probably be gone in 5 seconds. So if you want to give him activity, the other thing I was going to tell you is some dogs at first they won't want to eat it cold. So try feeding it room temperature. Try feeding it out of the refrigerator first. If he doesn't
Okay.
want to eat it, try feeding it room temperature, or you can lightly warm it in the microwave or like sear it in a pan. You don't want
Okay.
to cook it, obviously, but sometimes warming it up, they're like, oh, this is good. And then you'll be good to go.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna ask that because I feel like he might be a little weary of it at
Yeah.
first, maybe. I mean, like, when I pull, like, burger and stuff out of the fridge, like, raw, he's, like, is up against it, smelling it, like, it's the best thing he's ever smelled, so I
Okay.
don't think it will be a problem, but I'm just
And
like, I
he's
don't
a
know
wet.
because he wouldn't eat it in the morning. Like, in the beginning when we got him, he didn't wanna eat the wet food.
Interesting. He could have just been having a food
I
aversion.
think he was just probably just sick,
Yeah,
really sick and stuff.
totally. Totally. Um, yes. Well, so I would order the trial. So just get the 10 pounds.
Okay.
That way, if he doesn't like it, it's only $15. You didn't waste a ton of
Yeah,
money.
that's not yeah.
Pretty easy. Okay, so I know we're at time, but I'm gonna send you an email with the Farmina Kibble just so you have it in your back pocket, the omega-3 oils and calculator, the Casequin joint supplement, if just something to consider, how to use the Darwin's codes, and then the two different treat brands that I mentioned. Does that sound like
Okay.
everything?
Yeah, that sounded like everything.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear how this works for him. So please follow up and
I
give.
definitely will.
Okay. Awesome. Well, it was really nice meeting you. I'll send you this email right now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.